In 2009, Atlus brought the Shin Megami Tensei series into the tactical RPG world with Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor on the Nintendo DS. Careersoft, the developers of the Langrisser and Growlancer series, who were acquired by Atlus in 2001, developed the game with Atlus with the saying, "Let's breathe new life into the series and really shake things up." And breathe new life into the series they did. Hot off the heels of Square Enix's Final Fantasy Tactics A2, which was the last big tactical JRPG released on the Nintendo DS, Devil Survivor brought Shin Megami Tensei's signature demon fusion and development mechanics into a tactical RPG framework, and it was awesome. The game didn't just inherit the demons though, it also included the popular system of giving extra turns for exploiting weaknesses in battle, and included many of the demons players of the Megami Tensei games would be familiar with. The game did do some things to broaden its audience beyond just fans of the Megami Tensei games too. Atlus hired Suzuhito Yasuda to design the game's characters. Suzuhito Yasuda also created the manga Yozakura Quartet and illustrated the light novels Durarara and Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, which both also got entertaining animes with very different anime art styles compared to the standard Shin Megami Tensei fare at the time. Atlus also designed the story with more of a light novel approach, probably aiming more for something a little more like Durarara in flavor, which I think they succeeded in. As opposed to complicating the strategy combat, they decided to focus more on the demon's development. I would say the game is lighter on the strategy elements, which is probably why you don't see it compared with the usual heavyweights like Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre often among fans of those games who've played Devil Survivor. There's no real terrain or percentage-based positional advantages in this game like a lot of tactical RPGs, but some missions do require you to protect civilians or accomplish other goals outside of destroying all enemies. There are also free missions that allow players to grind levels and mecha between story battles, giving the game a variable challenge level. Players move up to 4 squads represented by their human party members across a gridded battlefield to encounter or be encountered by enemies. In battle, the human characters control up to 2 demons in a 3-unit group, and can choose an action for each of their demons to take in battle. Computer-controlled enemies do the same. Certain actions, like exploiting vulnerabilities, can give your units extra turns in a combat round. Players can choose to destroy the leaders to finish off the unit or get more mecha, which is the game's currency, or experience by killing the minor units before targeting the leader. There's also a skill crack system that lets you mark enemy units and defeat them with your units to steal their skills. These skills can be assigned to your human party members for battle. The Megami Tensei series trademark Demon Fusion system is in this game too. In addition to Demon Fusion, there is also a demon auction system that lets players purchase new demons through that too. Atlus wanted to keep the darker themes Shin Megami Tensei was known for. Although the game explored some interesting dark elements like many Shin Megami Tensei games do, it was able to maintain a teen rating, which really expanded its reach, especially in countries where the majority of 3DS owners and players were younger, as opposed to the series' more usual mature ratings. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor invites multiple playthroughs through its non-linear gameplay. Players have choices between missions and battles, but there's only so much time to do so much, and the entire game takes place in 7 days, or 8 days if you're playing the game's remaster. The more choices you make in line with other characters, the more likely you are to end up following their routes to the end of the game. To see all the routes, you have to play the game multiple times or just watch videos of other people who've played the routes you haven't. The characters have their own belief systems and philosophies, similar to routes in Shin Megami Tensei titles. I personally think the story to Devil Survivor is told in a really cool way, even if it isn't exactly unique. The protagonist's older cousin gives him and his 2 friends comps. While tinkering with the comps to figure them out, a demon outbreak occurs and they're trapped inside a quarantine zone by the Japanese Ground Defense Force. Inside the zone, demons are running wild and humans are either helping others or taking advantage of the chaos to prey on weaker people. The comps let the protagonist and his friends summon demons to fight the other demons and survive. The protagonist can see how long a person has to live and learns that everybody in the quarantine zone will die in 7 days. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor got many comparisons with Square Enix's The World Ends With You in the West due to its similar 7-day story and its setting in modern Tokyo. But while the Shin Megami Tensei games were relatively unknown in the West compared to the Persona games, which took place in fictional versions of other Japanese towns before Persona 5, Shin Megami Tensei almost always has Tokyo settings in the multitude of games that were only released in Japan and weren't spin-offs. In fact, it would be more accurate to say that maybe Square Enix was motivated by Atlus to make The World Ends With You a game with a Tokyo setting. Takami Asano of Japanese band Godigo composed the game's soundtrack, which also gave the game a unique flavor of audio compared to other Shin Megami Tensei titles. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor was a success in Japan, selling 106,997 units in 2009. The game got a drama CD acting as an abridged version of events in the game and a manga adaptation in 2012 with 3 volumes. In the West, the game sold 40,000 copies. The game got an enhanced remaster with new content that added an 8th day to certain routes of the story. This version of the game was called Devil Survivor Survivor Overclocked, and released on the Nintendo 3DS in 2011 in Japan and North America, and in 2013 in Europe. Its Western sales weren't publicized, but Devil Survivor Overclocked sold almost 40,000 in Japan by the end of its release year. Devil Survivor and its remaster actually got respectable review scores and decent sales, so it's no surprise that Atlus and Careersoft developed a sequel, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2, for the Nintendo DS in Japan in 2011, North America in 2012, and Europe in 2013. Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker, the game's remaster with additional content, was developed and released on the 3DS in 2015 in all territories. Devil Survivor 2 takes place all across Japan. The story begins with a new nameless protagonist and his two friends returning from a mock exam. They all get an email on their cell phones from a mysterious website called Nikaya, forewarning them of a death of a friend, showing a video of their death from a subway accident. The events happen, but the students survive thanks to the arrival of an avatar from Nikaya. The protagonist and his friends enable the Nikaya app to become demon tamers and fight the demons that appear across Japan throughout the story. Suzuhito returned from his role in the first game as character designer. Kazuma Kaneko designed the demons, and Mohito Kito was brought in to design the Septentrions, which were new monsters in the game. Mohito Kito is known for creating the mangas Bokurano and Shadowstar. Shadowstar is one of the most messed up animes I've ever seen, but I found it strangely artistic with its stark contrast of bright and cute with shocking violence. A sentiment I find similar with the anime Higurashi no Nakokoro ni, or When They Cry, but I digress. My point is that he was an awesome choice to design the Septentrions for this game. The music in the original Devil Survivor 2 was composed by Atlus Sound Team, comprising of Kenichi Tsuchiya, Atsushi Kitajo, Ryota Kazuka, and Toshiki Konishi. Kenji Ito, the same composer of Square Enix's Saga series of JRPGs, also composed song for the soundtrack. For Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker, Shoji Meguro created some new compositions. Devil Survivor 2 developed the already solid gameplay systems from the original Devil Survivor game and added some new things as well. The new Fate system in Devil Survivor 2 lets players rank up their relationship levels with human party members, which makes them more effective in battle, lets them share skill cracks, and can unlock special demon fusions. Players' actions and decisions in the game unlock ending options toward the end of the game. High-level demons also got upgraded versions of their demon race's racial skills, and the game introduced a demon compendium so players could resummon their customized demons. Devil Survivor 2 Record Breaker added an entirely new arc to the original game's Septentrion arc that can be played at the beginning of the game called the Triangulum arc, but it's set after the events of the main story, introducing a new character and a new demon invasion. Characters from Durarara were available as DLC along with survival missions, a beginner's map, and paid maps. Devil Survivor 2 got a manga called Devil Survivor 2 Show Your Free Will, drawn by Nagako Sakaki and written from the point of view of the protagonist's friend Io Nita that was serialized in Comic Earthstar. The original Devil Survivor 2 also got another 4-volume manga based on the 13-episode anime of the same name called Devil Survivor 2 The Animation, with some differences from screenwriter Makoto Uesu's script. This was illustrated by Haruto Shiota and premiered in Monthly G Fantasy, a manga magazine affiliated with Square Enix. A light novel adaptation of the animation about the character Yamato Hotsuin was also published called Devil Survivor 2 The Animation, set as his prequel. It was written by Katsumi Yamagawa and tells of Yamato's past. 3 drama CDs were also bundled with DVD releases of the Devil Survivor 2 anime. There were also numerous figurines, phone accessories, and posters released. I think the Devil Survivor series, like the Soul Hackers series, is one of those Shin Megami Tensei spin-offs that should definitely be brought back. While Soul Hackers 2 didn't exactly have the warm reception Atlus was expecting from its fans, it also, in my opinion, changed too much about what I liked from the first game. Careersoft seemed to nail the formula for Devil Survivor, especially with the second game, and I think a brand new third game on modern hardware would turn a lot of heads with the growing popularity of Atlus's brand and the Megami Tensei series in general with the recent release and great reception that Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance has gotten. Heck, I even think HD remasters of the 3DS versions of both Devil Survivor games would probably do really well if Atlus took the time to release them on modern platforms. And I even already talked a little more in depth about this in another video I'll link below. Like Shin Megami Tensei 4, the game's only real weakness when it came to sales was the fact that they are stuck on 3DS hardware. From a narrative perspective, Devil Survivor hit that sweet spot Atlus seems to skirt with varying success in a lot of its games post Persona 3, where they try to develop the human relationships but not take away from the demon's presence and significance in the stories. Devil Survivor's characters and and interactions are a little more philosophical in line with classic Shin Megami Tensei than Persona's more psychological nuances between its characters. But there's not only more character development than you'd see in a Shin Megami Tensei game, but also multiple endings that aren't quite as simple as the traditional law, chaos, and neutral you'd see in those games. The characters in these games have brighter designs and are typically more expressive than the characters in a flagship Shin Megami Tensei game too. As tactical RPGs, the games were great for their time, definitely better than Square Enix's Final Fantasy Tactics Advance games, but not as good as Yasumi Matsuno's earlier tactical RPGs like Tactics Ogre and the original Final Fantasy Tactics. The things holding it back from greatness, in my opinion, are its simplicity and its tactical gameplay. The gameplay evolves from demon development and party evolution rather than class changes, equipment, and deep positional importance in tactical gameplay. The modern setting of the Devil Survivor series and way the games handle story splits definitely help distinguish Devil Survivor from the standards set by those other games. While I do criticize the game for its simplicity in tactical gameplay, the visual novel influenced storytelling and less strict adherence to tactical RPG standards do make the games more accessible to people who aren't big on tactical RPGs, which is what Atlus was going for to begin with. Persona 5 Tactica was Atlus's latest attempt to make a tactical RPG, but its characters were already familiar, which put limits on what Atlus could do with the story, kinda like how the Persona Q games were not bad games, but they were neither as good as an Etrian Odyssey game nor a flagship Persona game despite successfully borrowing popular elements from both games. Persona 5 Tactica isn't by any means a bad game, but it will always live in the shadow of Persona 5 as a spin-off, like pretty much every Persona spin-off ever will, while the Devil Survivor games actually feel like very different original games in the Shin Megami Tensei universe. And while Atlus only published and didn't develop the game, Unicorn Overlord is incredible in so many ways I've already talked about in another video I'll link below for anybody curious. It also has a completely different style of tactical RPG gameplay, so comparing it with Devil Survivor wouldn't really work. But my point is that the Devil Survivor games really should have gotten more attention than they did. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.